Hello, and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I am Andy.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
We'll have to take your word for
it.
Guys, we are back with another regular episode of True Crime Guys. We hope you guys enjoyed Headlines and Shenanigans last week.
Somebody say shenanigans? That's all I could think of. When I saw the shenanigans headline pop up. It's like, somebody say shenanigans?
What's a restaurant you like? Yeah. But yes, Headlines and Shenanigans debuted last week. Guys, you're going to be hearing a little bit more of that over the summer. More on that later. But please, if you're listening to this on your podcast platform, please know that you can also watch every single episode of True Crime Guys on YouTube. Search True Crime Guys, look for the official logo, the official True Crime Guys account, and subscribe, and you can watch every one of these regular episodes in beautiful 1080p, probably.
It's in color.
Yeah, it's in color.
It's definitely in color. So we have that. We at least have that.
And if you don't have the patience to sit through a whole video, you can just watch the important parts on TikTok.
That's all you really need to hit right there. That's the highlights.
That's the highlights, at least according to my 16-year-old daughter who runs our TikTok and does a fantastic job, by the way. Speaking of my amazing daughter, she also designed these stickers. If you're watching on the YouTubes, then I am showing you this sticker. Okay, my wife is our editor. Could you zoom in on this? Zoom in on this, babe. Right there. Perfect.
Just imagine
my daughter,
some horror music.
Right. But my daughter designed these amazing graphic novel style stickers that I am extremely proud of. And you can get those at truecrimeguys.com. Click the stickers link on the front page. And you can also get this design on all sorts of things, from t-shirts to mouse pads to tapestries to coffee mugs, travel mugs, even all kinds of stuff.
Tattoos?
Sure. I mean, take it to your local artist. I think they can handle it.
At all technicalities, you can.
Right. But yes, all of that is at truecrimeguys.com or True Crime Guys link tree, which is right below the description of this episode. Also, guys, I want to let you guys be aware of our other show, Strange and Unexplained, as well as Sandu Stories. Strange and Unexplained is on a hiatus for the summer until September 4th. Our last release was May 1st of 2023 of Shanquella Robinson. If you guys haven't checked that out, please do. There are over 120 episodes of Strange and Unexplained. If you haven't checked out that show, please do. And like we said, also Sandu Stories, first season of Sandu Stories is out now. New episodes come out every other Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure what the recent episode is. We scheduled all those at one time, and but there's got to be at least 8-9 episodes out now.
Oh,
on
yeah,
Sandu Stories.
we're almost through like the first whole season of them, I think.
Right. And these are all separate stories that are, some of them are loosely based on true crime, based on lore, outlaws. There's one on Blackbeard. But these are all completely original episodes written by Andy here, and also co-written by my wife, Kristen, edited by myself, and all recorded in staff with voice actors that are either us or our friends. Lauren appears in most of the episodes as well. So if you missed that guy, tune in, Sandu Stories, guys, every other Tuesday. And of course, you can get access to everything we make here at True Crime Guys at patreon.com/truecrimeguys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is there anything else that I need to say at the beginning here? The Vault episodes.
The Vault episodes.
Andy, you almost let me forget.
We are adding more and more episodes to the TCG Vault, guys. We are pulling that Disney maneuver one good time again.
But
get it now before it comes back on Diamond Edition in 10 years.
Right. But this leads me into my next announcement. Here's what we're going to do. I was going to put all of the, episodes 51 to 100 in the vault on June 1st, but I'm going to push that back. I'm going to push that back to the beginning of September, and let me tell you why. Because we are going to take us a little break here for the first time ever in the history of True Crime Guys. We are going to take a break, a season break.
Yeah, a summer vacation,
We're going to take a summer break.
Yeah.
We are. Now, that is not to say you're not going to hear from us. We still plan to be active on social media. We maybe even more active on social media, honestly. And also, we plan to do Headlines and Shenanigans here on the free platform. And so basically what those will be, if you're familiar with our show, Strange Shorts, just longer versions of Strange Shorts where, we just have fun. We just jump on the mic. We're trying to stay fresh. We can meet once a week or so, maybe at least every other week. There'll be surprises. And Headlines and Shenanigans will be dropping into your feed randomly throughout the summer break. And, it's a way for me and Andy to stay sharp, but it also gives us an opportunity to reformat the show, to figure out the new direction that we want to go.
Yep.
We've had 10 or so episodes under our belt now, so we feel like we got some fresh ideas that we want to implement. We got a new format that we want to implement with the show as well that we think is going to fit better for our new dynamic.
It is a different dynamic.
It is a different dynamic. It is a different dynamic, and a new one as well. So we're still working through that. Like I said, I feel like this is as good a time as any. But we will be back. We will be back on September 6th. So Strange and Unexplained will be back September 4th on a Monday. And True Crime Guys will be back September 6th on a Wednesday like usual.
Yep. So that first week of September, guys, you'll
Yes.
start to get back to your regularly scheduled TCG weekly schedules. All those episodes will start dropping back on their normal platforms and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah, kind of how we talked, it's kind of been like a changing of the guard. Like Lauren stepped away earlier this year. I've stepped in. Michael has stepped in to take on the more of the leading host responsibilities now. So
Right.
we're still learning. We're still figuring it out. And now is probably as good a time as any to let people kind of catch up and get get familiar with the fact that it's a different show now. It's a different
That's right.
dynamic. It's a different feel. So we want to let our listeners kind of get a chance to get real comfortable or uncomfortable, whatever.
Or
you wanna do.
uncomfortable, or just it's like a reset, right? It's like, okay, this is like a whole new season for the first time ever. Like I said, we are going to be implementing a few format changes, but we hope you guys will like these and handle them in stride. We'll still be us.
Yeah.
We'll still have the same chemistry as far as the bulk of the show and telling the story, but we are going to implement some other segments, like one that we might as well tell them about now, Andy, that we're going to introduce. It will debut at the end of this episode. For the first time ever. Would you like to tell them what it is, Andy?
Well, Michael, I'm going to go ahead and announce this. This is trademark pending. The Antidote.
The Antidote.
I just wanted to come up with this great pun right
This
there.
true-
Get that Tiger Woods pump right there.
You got it.
But it's like we were talking about telling stories, kind of getting into what we normally do with Strange Shorts,
Yeah.
and like having to get some levity going every once in a while, like, almost like a palate cleanser.
Exactly.
So it's like what's the remedy to all the darkness we talk
Yeah,
about
what's
sometimes?
the antidote to this depression I'm feeling for strange crime?
How about a
From
good
true crime?
story, a good anecdote
Right.
from Andy, the Antidote?
Wow,
You get it. It rolls right off the tongue.
It works on so many levels. I love that about it. But yes, so after this episode, after this story, the Henryetta Killings, we will go into the Antidote, and hopefully that will send you away on a brighter, softer feeling, right? You'll feel a little fuzzier inside, because this first story, if you can't tell by the title, Henryetta Killings, it's plural. This is a dark one. This is absolutely a dark one, and it's extremely new. Like May 1st, 2023. We're recording this on May 28th. So very, very new.
We wanted to give you guys something at the end of the episode, because we know there's a lot of times we talk about some very dark things.
Right.
And yes, we do try to make a few jokes towards the very end, where we do our ad reads. We kind of get to touch with our sponsors and shout outs.
Right.
But there's also, you just want to kind of leave with something that's just like, okay, I don't want to just that be the last thing I remember from the episode was, and maybe they never even caught the guy. So
Yeah, exactly.
So we wanted to leave you guys with something more current, more up to date, a little bit light, and something that's like, oh, well, you know what? That's actually a good thing I can remember. That gives me something to smile about.
Absolutely. So we'll give you the antidote for this dark true crime, and then you can go listen to another one. You see, it gets your meter right in the right place, and then you're ready to hear more.
Just got bounce like it's like
Right.
a little aperitif. Just
And in the future, we'll always have an antidote, so it's okay. Don't worry about it. But yes, the antidote will be necessary for the case this week, the 2023 Henryetta Killings. They were 6 murders committed by Jesse McFadden on May 1st, 2023. That day, McFadden was set to have a jury trial, but he did not appear. And the bodies of 6 victims and McFadden were later discovered at his home that same day.
yeah, or at least his property that day. Like it's a pretty big area that they have to cover in this whole thing. It's got some twists, some turns, and some frustrating spots. So.
And like I said, this is still very, very new. There's quite a bit of information out here, and the fact that the man took his own life, obviously that leaves a lot of things unanswered, and I think a lot more is going to come out about Jesse McFadden. But yeah, so let's get into it. These gruesome findings that were found on May 1st littered the Henryetta, Oklahoma property of convicted rapist Jesse McFadden. That's right, he was already a convicted rapist who at just 39 years old had killed his wife, Holly Guess, who was 35, her 3 children, and 2 of their teenage friends before turning the gun on himself.
Yeah. It's hard to hear even the first sentence of this case to be like, oh, wait a minute, convicted it's convicted rapist, but it's also convicted sex offender. Like he was on the registry,
living with multiple teenagers.
This was a convicted like underage rape. He was like he attacked a 16-year-old girl. Yes. So yes, you're seeing the first sentence of this whole story is how okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Here's a quote from one of the family members. This is Holly Guess's aunt. Her last name is Wyatt. We'll call her Aunt Wyatt. She says, "Nothing can prepare anyone for what we had to find." Now, she says that because the police early on did not do a great job searching this property. They really didn't. Apparently, there was some miscommunication with another task force, and the police were under the assumption that they were only supposed to search the outside of the house, of the property. So the actual local PD did not even search inside the house. Yeah. This was up to another task force, and that task force just kind of passed the buck as well. So everybody's like, oh, we thought they were going to search it. They didn't search it. Oh, we found the bodies. So what more do we need? Well, there's a shit ton more in the house. Following the gruesome discoveries on May 1st, reports also suddenly surfaced saying that McFadden was facing soliciting and child pornography charges after he was caught exchanging lewd images with a 16-year-old in 2016, all the while serving jail time for the rape of another minor that happened in 2003.
Yeah. This man was already a convicted sex offender almost 20 years ago.
Yes.
So this was in 2003 when the first attack happened.
Yes.
And
the first one they caught him. You know, we'll get into that. McFadden had also qualified for an early release in 2020 despite the severity of his charges. Now, he was eligible for what Oklahoma has, is they call it the 85% rule, which means they have to serve at least 85%, but with good credits earned in prison for like doing your job, not getting in trouble. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like just taking care of your appearance, all these things, they give you credits, and every credit takes a day off of your sentence, no matter what. So even though he hits that 85 mark, if he's got credits, he can still knock that down. The 85%, from my understanding, I may be wrong, only applies to the sentence with no credits.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lynn Wyatt, Holly Guess's aunt, like we talked about earlier, and Kathy Rogers, which was Holly's godmother, arrived in Henryetta to gather the belongings from the house. And the property owner told them that they had until Sunday before everything was going in a dumpster. Like, he was in a huge hurry to get rid of everything in this house because this is actually not that televised. But this landlord was renting to Jesse McFadden illegally. Okay, he didn't even have the rights to rent this property. So do you think he did a background check on Mr. McFadden on a property he was not supposed to rent?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But the family found a shit ton of things and incriminating evidence at the house. In addition to computers and cell phones belonging to the victims, Wyatt found medical records and journals. During a press conference, a local police chief, Joe Prentice, said that there is no evidence to show a motive. But Holly's aunt Wyatt fired back. She said, quote, "Why didn't you get his technology to make sure he wasn't sending videos or pictures? You left the evidence here, Mr. I'm all about the evidence," said Wyatt, referencing that press conference.
Yeah,
the family was fired up, but rightfully so. You're gonna understand here.
Yeah, we watched some of the videos that the family has taken after going through the property and seeing the things that they are having to discover.
Yes,
like these are not police videos. These are not videos that the CSI people are coming through and filming and document. These are the families of the victims'
cell phone videos
going through the house of the man who killed their daughter
yes.
and finding evidence. It's just so wild to see this.
Including their daughter's phone. And it's just heartbreaking to watch that footage. But Wyatt said that she and other relatives came across bloody children's clothes, a mysterious ledger that included many names and ages, including the names of the recently deceased, binders of disturbing pictures, and other objects that police missed during their search. Here's a quote. She said, "We found bones. We found other things. The other family members came. The police came. It was just a lot of horrifying things," she says. They also found Velcro restraints in the house, but allegedly a police officer told her to throw them away because the house was no longer an active crime scene.
How is this no longer? It has not even been a month.
Right.
Like, how is that? You had 6 people killed on this property. After a lengthy investigation, after a convicted sex offender. How is this not still an active crime scene?
Exactly. And not just the ledger alone. That ledger, that's like, it reminds me of the, when we did the Randy Kraft case. That was our first case for TCG proper. And I'll never forget that list that he carried with him. And he had like a nickname for every single person. And then he had like something out beside it, I guess their age or whatever it was. And this is the same thing McFadden had. He had this ledger, and it had, I think, every one of his victims.
You would think so. The way his behavior throughout the time, it's kind of leads to
can of worms, man. That's a can of worms right there. Like, that's why the house needs to be investigated. I almost feel like the local police force is, at this point, they're like, let's just leave well enough alone. Like, he's dead. Like, we can't punish him. Everyone's who knows what happened is gone. But that's not even the point. There's so many more victims out there who are never going to get justice. You know what I mean? Or at least not even know. He very likely could have killed other children. And
it's not the fact that they're thinking, oh, well, what are we going to do? He's already dead. It's like, well, there's so many people who dropped the ball along the way that allowed him to get to this point.
Yeah.
It's like, that's almost kind of like sketchy, the police being like, oh, it's not a crime scene anymore. Don't worry about it.
And I guarantee you somewhere on that property there is footage of him torturing and raping these people. There is, man. Because there was footage from inside the home. This is from the cell phone videos that we were talking about earlier. Showed restraints attached to the wall behind what looked like a mattress on the floor. Now, these restraints were like, basically what he had done is he took a 2x4 and he put it along the base of the wall, and looks like he screwed it into the studs of the wall all the way down. And then all along the 2x4, he put in these giant eye hooks and screwed them in. And then from there, he had chains run through the eye hooks on both sides of a mattress lying on the floor. I mean, I'm not kink shaming or anything, but a man with this background, this don't look good.
And this is not,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but this is also this is not just in his personal bedroom. These are, when you watch the videos going through the home, every bedroom is like this. There is, like I said, not to kink shame or anything like that, or like anything that's wrong with having, a BDSM sex life, but there is like sex toys just scattered throughout the house, on the dressers, on the tables. There's bottles of lube all over the coffee tables. There's there's like dirty syringes with like crystal meth just on the coffee tables, on the nightstand. So it's like, you're not just walking into like one room and seeing, oh my God, it's like every room of the house is
every room.
Okay.
So wouldn't you say, and again, I'm not victim blaming here. I'm just trying to think logically about this. Wouldn't you say any adult that lived in that house had to have known about the things that went on in that house? Correct?
There's some form of at least either ignorance or denial, or I don't know. I mean, the amount of things that are in that house and the openness at which it all is. You couldn't live in that. Nobody could live in that house and not think that some things are going on in this house.
It's crazy that these teenage friends that were there that night, and we'll talk more about them, they had been to this house. They'd been to the McFadden house multiple times.
Yeah.
This is not their first visit.
No. There's not. It's also a little bit of a sketchy thing when they see some of the items that were around the home, and the fact that this man has had a very dark previous history with underage girls and abuse, and
a very dark history in general. So, all right. So here's the current story as it is right now to get you guys caught up. The current story is McFadden, who was supposed to be tried last week for child pornography, killed Holly Guess, her children, and 2 other teens who were visiting the family with multiple gunshots to the head, and then staged an elaborate crime scene before taking his own life, allegedly all by himself. We'll talk about theories later. The bodies of Guess, McFadden, Holly Guess's son, Michael, he was 15, and daughter, Tiffany, who was 13, were all discovered together. The remains of Guess's daughter, Riley, who was 17, and her friends Brittany Brewer, 16, and Ivy Webster, 14, were found a quarter of a mile away.
Yeah.
So the bodies were split up 4 and 4 for whatever reason.
That's what I was saying when I mentioned earlier. Like, it's not just in their home; it was on the property where they find the bodies. Because like one set of bodies is like kind of out in a field area, and then the other set of bodies is like over in a wooded area.
Right.
Like he has them both kind of staged in different parts of the property, like far away from the house.
Right.
And so yeah, it's like when they get there, they're like Michael said at first, they're just looking at the house, being like, yeah, there's nobody here.
Right. Yeah. But I guess McFadden had this planned. Maybe he had wanted to harm these girls. I don't know. But I mean, obviously, the only motive that I can come up with is self-preservation, right? Because as far as he didn't want to go to prison again.
Yeah.
Right? So he was probably like, I'm not going to prison again. So I might as well, act out my fantasies of torturing and killing people, this whole group of people before I leave.
I don't know. I'm like, we're not doctors, we're not psychologists or anything, but it's like we see the fact that he's about to be brought up on charges of child pornography, of texting with another underage girl while he was in prison.
Yes, in 2003,
and he's about to be brought up on all these things, and there's all the evidence is right against him.
Yeah,
and he's still texting with the girl that he was charged with, doing manipulating and sexting with again while he's in prison. He's still texting
because
this
she
girl.
Hasn't given up to keeping him behind bars. Yeah, he actually texted her before the assault went down.
Yeah,
and he wrote, quote, "This is all on you for continuing this."
Yeah, so this is the girl who while he was in prison, he gets a contraband cell phone and starts texting multiple underage girls. Well, one girl he completely manipulates and brainwashes into thinking that he's the innocent guy whose girlfriend charged him with this. And then while he's in prison, they catch him again with illegal cell phone and plenty of child pornography on that cell phone. And then now that girl who he was texting with is pressing charges.
Yeah.
He's about to go to prison, and he's still managing to text that girl the night before he kills all these people.
Yes,
blaming her for what's about to happen.
Just the fact that he's out blows my mind, dude.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to ever even be out.
That's what I call bad behavior.
Yeah, to even be like, they're like, well, he got his good behavior back. It's like, right? He was doing the crime again,
right?
Like the same crime.
So let's follow the legal explanation of why McFadden was out. Okay. So for one, he was, like Andy said earlier, he was on the state sex offender registry and was sentenced to 20 years in prison for rape in 2003. After he was released early in October of 2020, McFadden was arrested the very next month and then released again on a $25,000 bond pending trial, which was repeatedly delayed, partially due to COVID-19.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the victim that we were talking about earlier, her name is Crystal Strong, and I'm not afraid to use her name because neither is she. I mean, apparently, she is all over the place, and she's super brave. She's going everywhere, spreading awareness about this guy, or was rather, but still, she's her name fits her. She's been strong, and she has been getting this story out there, even when he was still alive, even when he could come at her. For revenge or whatnot, and silence her, she didn't care. She was still speaking out on this. Also, one of his cellmates, James Fleming, they both told reporters that they contacted several law enforcement agencies in an attempt to stop McFadden's release, and they tried to warn authorities that he was a danger to the community.
There was no real guess part on that one. Like, he's doing the exact same behavior that got him sent to prison. While he's in prison. Yeah. And they're like, well, he still served 85% of his time, so.
Right.
Like, but he's...
Right. Now, you may be thinking, how can his wife, Holly Guess, not know this. You know what I'm saying? Her mother spoke to that to a certain extent, but it is her mother, so, it is what it is. Guess's mother, Jeanette Mayo, said last week that McFadden lied to her daughter about his criminal past. Quote, "He was very standoffish, generally very quiet, but he kept my daughter and the kids basically under lock and key. He had to know where they were at all times, which sent red flags up," she said.
Yeah, a little bit of a red flag there.
Yeah, a little bit. Also,
but that's another thing when he says he lied about his criminal upbringing.
Yeah.
He lied extensively about his
He
criminal
did.
past.
Thank you for bringing that up.
It's not just like no, you can trust me, right? I'm a good guy.
Right.
It's way you'll get into a little bit more of how much he lies about his criminal past.
Well, I mean, I was about to say, thank you for reminding me. We can bring this up right now. Like, he went to the extent of hiring an actress to pose as this victim that pressed charges, saying to his new wife, Holly Guess, that it was all a misunderstanding. Now, he did do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good reason for Holly Guess to trust him. I mean, if you're already in this relationship, you're loving this guy, whatever, he treats you good, and then he has this legit explanation, like, who are you to say that this woman is not the victim? You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know who it is, right? But also, Cameron Spradling, an attorney that's representing the Webster family, which is one of the friends of the girls, has now divulged that 32 different cell phones and individuals use McFadden's House of Horrors as their location address. That means their phones ping there at some time. 32 different cell phones and individuals.
Yeah.
Okay? Around the time that he lived there. He didn't live there that long.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's only been out of prison since 2020.
Exactly. Cameron Spradling also said the family of Ivy Webster were shocked to discover that computers and cell phones had not been seized by law enforcement when they viewed the inside of the house. No words can express this family's fear that the sexual assault of their baby girl has been placed on the dark web. We demand that law enforcement seize all electronic devices and hunt down all sexual predators who have witnessed the suffering of Ivy Webster, end quote. And see, that's a whole other problem that didn't even come to mind. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about these other families getting closure on, possible victims of McFadden, but God, I mean, the stuff that he's filmed, like I said, surely he's filmed this stuff.
I'm
there
sure
are
there's
cameras and wires run all over that place, man. And it's like the sceneries that he's got set up, there's being some filming. And we know typically people with this sadistic nature, they like to revisit these things.
Yeah.
They do.
It seems like when you walk through the house, it's one of those homes where it looks like the person who is committing, these dark acts was trying to normalize it so much to where everybody in the house was like, oh no, this is just how the house is.
Yeah.
Like it's so open and apparent when you see the videos going through the house.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way children live here, right? Oh, there's three children here? Okay, wow.
There.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the other children. Brittany Brewer, her father told KOTV in Tulsa that, quote, Brittany was an outgoing person. She was actually selected to be Miss Henryetta coming up in July for this Miss National Miss Pageant in Tulsa. And he says, and now she ain't going to make it because she's dead. She's gone. That's from her father. He says, at a Monday night vigil, at a Monday night vigil, Brewer told hundreds of people, it's just a parent's worst nightmare and I'm living it. Yes, I saw that interview with her father on the news, and it is heartbreaking. You can tell that he's still in shock. He says that in the video. He's like, I still haven't processed it yet. He said, I still expect her to be right behind me or to be coming out that door. He's like, I just haven't processed it yet. And you can see it in his face. The confusion, the stress, the anxiety around the whole about having to even process it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because also these parents had to put out a missing persons report for both of their kids at first, because it was these two girls went over for a birthday sleepover at this property, and then after that morning, one of the moms got a text from one of the daughters saying they were going to this other place, but it doesn't seem like that the daughter actually sent that text.
No, she didn't.
But then after that, there's no communication. So the only reason they were even investigated was because of a missing persons case. The police were actually looking for these two girls, the two friends who were missing.
Yeah.
And then once they get to the house, like Michael said, they go in the house, there's nobody there. They look around the home. They're like, yeah, there's no one here. There's no evidence that your daughters were here.
Right.
We don't see their clothes. We don't see their phones. We don't see anything. We don't see them. And then, later on they're located on the property.
And what's crazy too is, like I said earlier, these girls have been over to the McFadden home multiple times. This was a regular thing, and some of the McFadden children had stayed at their home. They were close friends. This wasn't a first time. That's why I say the timing is so odd. It's got to be something that McFadden was planning and just decided to act at his last moment of freedom, because he knew at that trial he was going. I mean, with his past, he's done.
There were so many people he had apparently had fooled and had manipulated along the way that so many people in the community thought he was just this cool, nice guy and had this big property out there. And
we have to think that he had his wife, Holly Guest, fooled as well. I mean,
yeah, he seemed to
have to at this point.
Because they talk about how she told her ex that she'd done a background check on him and that he had passed, but then she'd also met with the former victim, and so you can't even go into, you don't even know how many things he actually did lie about to manipulate Holly into where they ended up.
Exactly. Holly's mother, Jeanette Mayo, described her daughter as a doting mother who cared deeply for her children. Quote, "She was a fantastic mother. She loved her children beyond belief. She was overprotective," Mayo said. "She was supportive. If they wanted to do something, she'd go out 100%. I don't know. An overprotective mother and then living in a home under those conditions, those two things don't coincide. That's like an oxymoron to me.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion. I'm just saying, I just don't think I don't think anybody could look at the footage of that house and say this is a safe place for children to be, especially at such an impressionable age of 13 to 17.
Yeah.
These kids are living in this house.
Yeah, with like we said, there's like tables with just open syringes and like cocaine sprinkled all over it. And you can just see like it looks like a junkie's house. It looks like the house of a single person who's been there for a while, and it doesn't look like the house of a family of 5.
No, it doesn't.
Which is just wild when they're going through, and like that's what we're talking about when the families are going through there. They're the ones who are opening cabinets, and that's when they're finding their own daughter's cell phone. Like,
imagine that. You open the cabinet of a home with all of those things in it, right? And you know the history of the man who lived here, and then you see your daughter's cell phone. I mean, that's just... The man in the video, I think it's Brittany Brewer's father, I believe, he just breaks down. He immediately breaks down. He's like, that's it. And that's just... And then, too, the police missed it. The police missed it. Like, you can't get any more evidence than that. I mean, her cell phone is there.
It's just sitting in a cabinet in the laundry room.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a shame. All these kids, man, these kids were bright. They were involved in sports and did well in school. 17-year-old Riley Allen had a talent with a paintbrush, according to her grandmother, Mayo. She said Riley wanted to be an artist and wanted to be a doctor so she could help people. Michael Mayo, who was only 15, ran track and cross country, and when he wanted to play football, his mother went out and bought the family t-shirts and sweatshirts to support the team, Mayo said. And Tiffany Guess also ran cross country. She performed in the choir and had just tried out for the cheerleading squad. Here's a quote about Tiffany Guess. She's the 13-year-old. It says, "She was the sweetest, most loving girl you'd ever met. We called her Tiffosaurus because when she got mad at you, she'd growl," according to her grandmother.
We all have a daughter like that. Everyone's like,
right?
Just gonna say, no, you can't. Okay.
Okay. All right. Calm down.
I need to growl. Sorry.
You can keep your chicken nuggets. Yeah, but even the kids' Facebook, the public school, the Facebook, Henryetta Public Schools posted, "Our hearts are hurting, and we have considered what would be best for our students in the coming days," the note said. Officials said school would be in session, and mental health professionals and clergy would be on hand to help counsel students. But they said that they would understand if families wanted to keep their children home from school. So you can see how this devastated. I mean, this is a very small town.
Yeah.
Okay, Henryetta, it's a small town. So, yeah, it devastated the community. I remember when I was in high school, I had a graduating class of 180, 185, maybe.
Yeah.
But the year before me, similar class size, three of the members of that class died in a car accident altogether. And then there was a fourth person in the car, a driver who lived. And it like changed the whole dynamic of the whole year. You know what I mean? I just know how it impacts the school, even whether you knew them personally or not.
Yeah,
it's still a wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's difficult to concentrate on what you're doing in school. So I was kind of surprised that they kept school open, but I think we actually did too. But they had more counselors on staff and whatnot for people. But it's difficult. I mean, there's very few graduating classes I think didn't suffer a death or two.
Oh no, it's a common tragedy amongst graduating seniors. But it's also we know that this case is a bit different than what we've normally done on TCG, and this is a very recent case. So we know that there's still investigations on it, and we know that there's not it's not as concrete of a fine. Like we don't have like the big of like a we don't have like a big end finale. This is how it ends. Like this case is still being investigated. Like they are actually still going to have to go through all this technology.
If anybody cares, though, that's the argument right now, Andy. It's like who cares enough to dig in? It's like I said, everybody's like, well, he's dead. Yeah, the victims are gone. We found the bodies. Who cares how it happened?
Yeah,
it almost seems like Oklahoma authorities are kind of like that.
Yeah, I feel like the parents of these kids that were, especially the two friends who were over, when they're like, just like I said, when like the police went through that house and didn't find their daughter's cell phone, it's like, how did you not look in the cabinets? What did you actually look for? Who did you? Yeah. I feel like there is some stuff that might need to be I feel like this is one of those cases where there's gonna be like some outside presses coming in and being like, no, you need to investigate this.
A lot of people say, okay, how were these multiple teenagers coming and going from this house and blah, blah, and no word ever got out? And how was social services not involved and this and that? Social services, here's interesting. This is just what I found, okay? Interesting little tidbit here. Social services was involved with this family, but it was before McFadden came in the picture. Jesse McFadden. So what does that tell you? That's not good. That means why were they in your life, Holly Guess, before?
Yeah. It's a different family. It's a mixed family. All three of Holly's children have different fathers. Yeah. The one father, I can't remember which, I think it was the youngest daughter.
Yeah.
Of the 13-year-old. He was kind of the father figure for her other two kids as well. He was kind of in their life for most of their lives, but he wasn't in the picture anymore when she was dating Jesse, but he was even in the process of trying to legally adopt the other two kids because he had been married to her for so long and he had been raising them for most of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and once again, like we talked about how the cops seem to miss everything. It's like, this was the father of one of the children.
Yeah.
That was actually the biological father of one of the children that was murdered.
Right.
And he got a call that morning that said there was 6 victims found.
That's all they told
property.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, they never contacted him again to say like, yes, this was your daughter was found. Like,
no. There's so much more to be uncovered, guys. And like I said, I'm not trying to victim blame Holly Guess at all. I just think there's a lot more that has to come out, and there's things that need to be explained.
Yeah, there needs to be some investigation, especially from, like I said, some outside forces might need to come in and
absolutely
take a look at this.
But here's something else interesting. I just remembered the inmate that was bunked up with McFadden. Mm-hmm. Okay, the guy that came forward and was like, "This guy can't be released." That guy also knew Holly Guess. She was writing to him in prison. Odd, right?
Yeah.
And then when he got out, he noticed that when he ran into her or whatever, I guess in one of the letters she wrote her last name McFadden, and he was like, "Oh, your name changed."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Yeah, I got married." And then he was like, "Oh shit, she married Jesse McFadden."
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And I don't know, but they have documentation of them telling each other they love each other and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a brother or sister type vibe. I don't know if they went to school together, because they were in the local jail together. So I don't know. That's just weird, right?
Yeah.
What is does she just write to inmates? Is that how she met Jesse? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a weird whole thing because even the ex-husband says that when Jesse first came into the picture, Holly told him that she had run a background check on him and they weren't going to have anybody around the kids who didn't meet a background check.
I think he just straight up lied to her about the background check.
Oh yeah, I think
and then I mean the fact that he hired that actress. I mean, what is she supposed to believe?
No, everybody who's kind of come forward about Jesse McFadden has all said that he was just a manipulator, that he manipulated these women, especially these younger girls, that he was just convincing them that he was the victim and he was actually a good guy. And they like the previous victims of his have looked at the conversations and like, oh yeah, he has completely twisted this girl into thinking that he's not a monster.
And I mean, you just got to think, dude.
But when you walk through that house, that is the house of a monster.
That is the house of a monster, house of horrors. Yeah, and is what a lot of people describe it as. And you have to think, when you hear about a monster like this, so many of the serial killers that we cover, you're like, what were their parents like?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Especially when you got two psychopaths in your family,
right? Yeah.
Two psychopaths.
What is this, the mafia?
Well, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the other apples.
From the rotten tree, I guess.
Because Cody McFadden, is also a convicted felon. And he is also the little brother of Jesse McFadden. You guessed it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're half brothers or what, but I do know that Cody is part Choctaw Indian.
Okay.
And lived on a reservation. And I know that because he committed a horrible crime on this reservation, which we will talk about.
Oh, great.
Cody, like his brother, is a convicted felon. Like I said, he's got all the precursors: animal cruelty, sexual assault, just regular assault, you name it. But most recently, deputies from Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma, said that they were responding to a domestic violence call on July 17, 2022, when they came across a woman who was injured and bleeding from her arms, legs, head, and back, and covered in bruises.
You can just say bleeding all over.
Bleeding all over.
Yeah, like that's the whole body. Arms, legs, head, back. That's the body.
That's the whole body.
You're just bleeding.
The official report also said that she had a broken arm. The woman told deputies that Cody beat her with a pole and pushed her into a dog cage. He then used pepper spray on her and used jumper cables to shock and torture her. She was also, at some point, struck in the head with an axe. Dude. Struck in the head. And she lived.
Yeah.
She lived through all of this. And somehow, miraculously, was able to escape when the cops showed up. But Cody was really making it difficult for her because he lit the house on fire and tried to escape after a standoff with deputies, but was quickly arrested.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right? He was charged with kidnapping and assault on the Choctaw Nation reservation as per court records. He was later found unfit to stand trial. A federal judge ordered that Cody be committed to a mental institution.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the behavior of a sane person.
It does not.
No, it sounds like the behavior of like a drunk, like a town drunk
also,
in the Wild West.
Also, if Cody's his half-brother, at least we know what parent to blame.
Possibly, either way.
And they have the same last name, Dad.
Everyone always blames their mom for all their problems.
Right?
But no, that's those are two brothers who have very similar nature nurture type deal. Yeah, it's like, okay, this was because of your upbringing or because you're both psychopaths? Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So there's that, and on Cody McFadden, but there's also another case that happened very recently in Okmulgee County. Okmulgee. Don't put too many syllables in there, Andy. Don't say what if it is Okmulgee?
Okmulgee.
I wish it was Okmulgee. That sounds good, but I think it's Okmulgee.
Probably.
Okmulgee County. But the bodies of 4 men were found on October 14th in the Deep Fork River in Okmulgee, a town of around 11,000 people, about 15 miles north of Henryetta. So very close, same area. Totally different crime, though. Joseph Kennedy, who was 68, is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder in that case. Kennedy, who was 67 at the time, was charged Monday, December 5th with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Mark Chaston, 32, Billy Chaston, 30, Mike Sparks, 32, and Alex Stevens, 29, all of Okmulgee. I did it. All of Okmulgee. Kennedy is being held in the Okmulgee County Detention Center without bond and faces the death penalty or life imprisonment with or without the possibility of parole. You see, Kennedy had been a person of interest since he fled Oklahoma immediately after the bodies were discovered. Kennedy allegedly told a friend that they were stealing from him and that he killed them and cut them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
Exactly. So we have a little play-by-play here of the case. This is as reflected of the affidavits that were filed on December 5th in regards to Kennedy. So on October 9th, I guess this is the damning evidence they have against him. At 3 p.m., on the day prosecutors believe the shooting deaths occurred, Kennedy is seen parking his PT Cruiser across... I ain't heard that car in a while.
That's what I learned how to drive in,
wow.
baby.
Parking his PT Cruiser across the street from his scrapyard at a coke plant. Then at 5:30 p.m., Mark Chastan's phone records indicate he arrives at the scrapyard. At 6:22 p.m., about a dozen high-powered rifle shots are reported by a deputy sheriff who lives in the area. 7:59 p.m., video shows Kennedy leaving the scrapyard wearing a different shirt and leaving the area in his PT Cruiser.
Inconspicuous.
Right. 10:14 p.m., almost 3 hours later, video shows Kennedy returning to the scrapyard, again parking at the coke plant, this time driving a Toyota Tundra.
Got to have some more trunk space.
Yeah, there we go. So he hangs out for an hour. 11:15 p.m., Kennedy is seen walking back to the Tundra and leaving the area. Now, the next day, this is wee hours of the morning. It's really only a couple hours later. 1:19 a.m., Kennedy returns to the scrapyard, again parking at the coke plant. 2:14 a.m., Kennedy again leaves the scrapyard, still in the Tundra. At 2:44 a.m., Kennedy returns to the scrapyard, again parking at the coke plant. 4:12, he returns back to the truck, drives it north a short distance, and pulls into a vacant lot that borders his scrapyard. The lot is referred to as Pine Field.
It's like a local baseball field.
Yeah, right.
That's all I could think of when I read that was just like, if you build it, they will come.
Pine Field. Yeah,
Pine Field, it's by the scrapyard.
Exactly. Then at 4:54 a.m., the truck is seen returning to the coke plant before turning around and going back to Pine Field. At 6:22 a.m., a vehicle consistent with the Tundra pickup, in quotes, is seen leaving Pine Field going west on Sharp Road. Okay? October 14th, 4 bodies are discovered in the Deep Fork River after being seen from a bridge on that very Sharp Road.
Oh, yeah.
That very same Sharp Road. And then officers find personal items belonging to Mark Chastan in the Pine Field with what is believed to be blood. Prosecutors say that Kennedy parked his PT Cruiser behind a warehouse in Morris and sometime later takes the Tundra that belonged to a friend. October 15th, 3 a.m., Kennedy arrives at the home of a friend in Gore possessing a bicycle belonging to one of the victims. The bicycle was identified by the victim's family. Kennedy tells the friend the men were, quote, stealing from him and that he killed them and cut them up.
So I took his bike.
And I took his bike.
And I took this bike.
He then leaves her residence. Okay. Kennedy was arrested on a stolen vehicle complaint on October 18th in Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, after the Tundra, reported stolen by the owner, was identified by an automated plate reader on a deputy sheriff's patrol car. Dude, I didn't even know they had those.
Yeah.
What the hell?
You ever seen those before?
No.
Oh, yeah. They'll get you any way they can now.
Automated plate reader, so even with the cops not paying attention, like, you shouldn't get to give me a ticket if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, if you're not doing your job well enough,
what the hell?
I got by you.
This is seriously. Now the car just tells them, oh, you should pull them over.
Yep.
Yeah, damn. But when he was pulled over and arrested, he was placed on suicide watch because he told arresting officers that he intended to jump off a hotel balcony in Daytona Beach.
That's the way to do it, and that's the place to do that.
Yeah.
Daytona Beach.
Yeah, really. Or it's just a way to get, put in solitary by yourself or whatever.
That's how they knew he was serious. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna jump off a building. Oh yeah, I'm going to Daytona Beach. Oh no, he actually is serious. He's definitely gonna put him away.
But Florida authorities ultimately dropped the stolen vehicle charge against Kennedy, which made it possible for his extradition back to Oklahoma on November 12th, where he was booked into the Okmulgee County Detention Center. And he was due in court for preliminary hearing on January 12th of this year, 2023, and that's pretty much all I know so far. So if I find out any more about that, I will let you guys know.
Yeah, we plan on trying to follow up a little bit more with this McFadden case as well, because I am genuinely hoping that it gets reopened and kind of gets like an FBI investigation going in there. And
we need somebody to interview like Cody and find out about their childhood.
Yeah, there is just I don't know. There is just so much, like so many people drop the ball along the lines with Jesse McFadden that you feel like you can't just sweep it under the rug and be like, oh, yep.
No.
Mistake. 6 people lost their lives.
Right.
And
at least 6 people lost their lives.
Yeah, at least 6 people there on that property lost their lives.
Yeah.
And you see all this evidence, and all of a sudden you're seeing like the police really aren't investigating it that much. It's so many sketchy things everywhere that's like, all right, I feel like you guys kind of messed this up. Time to bring in the big guns. Like, time to bring in somebody else to get the suits in here.
Yeah.
It's just so wild.
It is, man. It's frustrating. And so, yeah, we've wanted to hit you guys with back-to-back spree killings. How you like that? For
back-to-back.
Dark, right?
It's just, we're going on a spree here.
But yeah, both of those, they happened within months apart. You know, one happened in December, and the other one happened in May. December of 2022 and May, and 15 miles apart. So pretty crazy, albeit completely different reasons. One man, you know, at the end of his rope, Kennedy, and just, I guess, couldn't take anymore. That's one thing. But then you got McFadden, the sinister son of a bitch who shouldn't even had that opportunity. So two completely different cases. Not like we got a pandemic going on in Okmulgee. You know, I think we're all good. But either way, Andy, I still think we could use an antidote.
You think we need to?
Yeah, I think we could use a little levity to
pick
end
me
this
up
show
there.
on. Yeah,
a little pick me up.
Yeah, a little espresso. You know, a little crime espresso, if you will.
Aperitif, little palate cleanse.
That's right.
Nice. Let's go out on a good note, Michael.
Indeed.
Let's go out on a I'm never dying note. Let's go out on like, I want to be like this nun that I heard about this past week, dude. This was weird. Because I saw a few people post about this on social media, and then I kind of like started looking into it. I was like, okay. Right. But Michael, I don't know what you've ever seen. Have you ever seen like what a body usually goes through in the decomposition, even after it's been preserved? Like
I've been to Discovery Place.
You've been, it's in the bodies and things like that. Normally, after 4 years, there's not much of a body left.
Normally,
apparently not for this Missouri nun, man. This thing is fucking wild. Because a miracle in Missouri. Excited Catholics have called for a late nun to be made a saint after her body has been exhumed 4 years later from her death with zero signs of decay.
Whoa. Did she mummify herself? Because those Japanese monks who do the self-mummification, they were able to preserve their bodies for a long period of time, but you have to start the process like almost before you die. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no. This was not like a planned thing. If anything, this was an ad for Thompson's water seal because the preservation is amazing.
Yeah,
like this is a Madame Tussauds like masterpiece, if anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, faithful Catholics are rushing to a Missouri church after a late nun's body has been exhumed 4 years after her death with no signs of decay. And now some are calling for her to be made a saint. Like, I thought this was just kind of a spooky little thing.
How do you explain it, Andy?
Yeah, it's a weird thing because like they're looking at the thing. This is Sister Lancaster, Wilhelmina or Wilhelmina. I think that's how you say it. Wilhelmina Lancaster.
Yeah.
She died in May of 2019 at the age of 95. So again, 95 years old. So at this point, she would have been almost 100 years old. She would have been 99 years old. You should have been a skeleton with some tracing paper on you.
Wow. But where was her body kept? Obviously, it was preserved somewhere else, though.
Yeah, this was 39 miles north of Kansas City in Grower. This is where her body has been exhumed. Body was buried outside the Benedictines of Mary, Queen of the Apostles Monastery, and was recently dug up to be placed in a better tomb inside of the chapel. So at the time of her death, the nun wasn't embalmed, and workers expected to uncover bones from her body, but instead found it perfectly intact. So this was, again, she was not embalmed. She was not preserved. She did not go to a funeral home to get, properly prepared for death.
And she died almost exactly 4 years to this day we're recording it. She died on the 29th of May. We're recording this on the 28th of May.
Yeah.
In 2023. She died in 2019. Wow.
Yeah, so they're saying this is considering they're calling it a miracle.
What kind of casket is that?
A miracle in Missouri. Yeah, this is the premium grade casket. That's what you get when you really spend the money for the casket.
Yeah.
This is what they really are. That's what all that money is really going for. It's a vacuum seal.
Vacuum sealed Ziploc casket, man.
Yeah, we're just going to put you in a casket. We're going to vacuum seal you in there, keep the flavor all in.
Yeah.
But she's been referred to as a miracle in Missouri. But they're going to they were moving her body to a better tomb. Mother Celia, the head of the monastery, recalled the moment she first saw Lancaster's body after a crack in the coffin led to a layer of mold forming over the nun's body. But as the abbess took a closer look, she was shocked to see a body part fully intact.
Wow.
I thought I saw a completely full, intact foot. And I said, I didn't just see that, right? And then she apparently looked a bit closer and said, oh my, and cheered, I see her foot. As the mold was removed from Lancaster's body, the crown and flowers she was buried along with, and her rosary and crucifix remained nearly untouched, according to the media agency.
Wow.
So yeah, several people have called to canonize Lancaster as a saint since her body appeared to be incorruptible after 4 years underground.
I need to know what kind of mold that was, man.
I need to know what her skincare routine was, man. This is amazing. This is like some of that native stuff. What is this, geology? I don't know. What the... We get a sponsorship from whatever she was using. Good God.
Right.
Even at 95 years old, look at the dead body of this woman. Looks amazing.
But, I mean, your skincare only matters if you're alive.
I guess, unless you're going to the tomb every night.
Your skin is an organ. You know what I'm saying? But it's got to be this mold has to be the key to this. I mean, she wasn't embalmed. There was a crack in the casket. Maybe that is actually what
kind of like preserved her in like a cocoon type thing or something.
I don't know.
I really don't know either, because they're saying like several people have called to canonize her, but the Catholic Church believes that a preserved body after death is a sign of holiness. But an incorruptible body doesn't always qualify a person for sainthood. Oh, come on, guys, there's a whole checklist. There's a whole thing you got to get to be a saint. You got to get your holiday and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to get it to be a federal holiday, you get off work that day. It's a whole list of stuff.
It is a whole list of stuff.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people right now. One of the many visitors traveling to see her was Mary Lou Ina. She's 85. First says it's a bit unreal, but then as I gazed at her, tears started coming and I just knew it was for real. It is miraculous to see a body in perfect condition after her body was in a grave close to 4 years. So yeah, we're looking at some pictures of this nun right here, and we're looking at the pictures of her before and during, like currently. Yeah, like her hands, they look a bit like they're gloved, like they're a little bit decomposed, or not really decomposed. They're just like perfectly, I don't know, posed.
Yeah.
But her skin is completely there's no color missing. There's no sunkenness. There's no like.
Definitely no sunkenness. That's insane.
Yeah, there's no decomposition shown whatsoever. She looks like she was perfectly frozen at the time of death. So it's very uncomfortable to see this, especially when they weren't like this. They weren't doing an investigation. They weren't looking into this coffin to like try and find anything. They were literally moving this body to a better spot because they were like, hey, listen, she died 4 years ago. It was kind of tough. We didn't have just kind of put her in a temporary spot, and now we're going to bring her to a better spot.
Right.
And they cracked open that casket, and all of a sudden, like you said, the air just. But normally you would think that would like oxidize the body and like corrupt it immediately, but no, she's just sitting there like she just drank from the right cup in the Last Crusade.
Yeah, man.
Look in that casket. She got the cup of a carpenter in there with her somewhere.
Mean,
like
if that's a sign of true holiness, man, she's got it.
Yeah, right there.
That's for sure.
Like I said, that skincare routine is amazing. I'm gonna start moisturizing right there. That's what my body's gonna look like after I die.
That's right.
I really don't care that much, but
I hear if you use Oh My Gaia, you'll have similar results.
Oh, you think so?
If you just smother your body in Oh My Gaia, then
just grease it.
I don't think it'll decompose. Yeah, you don't take that to the bank, but it's worth a shot.
Greased up loud guy.
Yeah. You're never gonna catch me.
You're never gonna catch me.
Well, guys, if you don't know what Oh My Gaia is an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And at Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural, paraben, and aluminum-free organic ingredients. And guys, there's tons of scents to choose from. that will gladly smell up your grave or your coffin. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'll smell amazing. You could have it smell vanilla or cherry almond or sandalwood or lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, barbershop, sailor, sweet pea. What do I got today? I think I got tobacco and caramel on. One of my favorite scents because we're the tobacco state here in North Carolina, right? I just
guys.
feel like it's fitting.
Impress your former grave robbers.
That's right. Also,
really give them a nice surprise when they crack open that coffin in a couple hundred years. Just what is that?
They still smell great. They must be a saint. They must be a saint.
There's some honeysuckle if I've ever done it. Right. Man, I guess that's okay. Yeah, I mean, get the rings, but still.
Right, exactly. But speaking of qualifications for sainthood, also having your own scented deodorant is as well, I think, Andy, right? I think,
we should get a holiday at this point.
We should. But because we have True Crime Pine for True Crime Guys. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use code word CREEPER for 15% off your order at shop_ohmygaia at Instagram.com or ohmygaia.com rather. OHMYGAIA.com. Again, code word CREEPER for 15% off your order. Just like with Tonic, except for you get 20% off your order with Tonic.
That's right, Michael, because at Tonic CBD, not all products are created equal. No. In the world of all things, not all products are created equal. Sometimes you got the Cadillac of things, and sometimes you got the Oldsmobile of things. It's just a different dynamic.
That is so true.
But it's true. From how the hemp is grown and how it's processed to how it's formulated and delivered into your body. And that's why Tonic's products really stand out with original formulas using CBD, adaptogens, herbs, and superfoods, and has been working to deliver the most effective, intentional, and sustainable products possible. Guys, Tonic cultivates their own hemp at a certified organic family farm in upstate New York. That's not too far. We should go up there one day. I'm still telling you.
Yeah.
But that hemp travels only 30 minutes to their distribution facility where it's turned into a finished product. All the different kinds of flour or tinctures or edibles or little smokable things you might want to try.
Right.
But everything is there only to ensure the highest quality of vibes at every stage of that process.
High quality vibes, just like TCG.
Every single time, baby.
That's right.
And with values rooted in quality, integrity, and sustainability, Tonic is committed to creating plant-based wellness products that are good for the people and good for the planet. Visit tonicvibes.com to learn more and use code word CREEPER for 20% off your order.
That's right.
tonicvibes.com and use code word CREEPER for 20% off your order. And let's get those vibes going, guys.
That's right. That's right. And guys, if you're still here, if you're still listening, thank you very much. You guys are obviously some diehards. We just want to remind you guys that we are taking a break this summer, but we will be back early September. September 6th will be TCG's return for the new season. The different dynamic will have settled in by then. We will have made some changes and whatnot, including adding the antidote to the end of every show. We hope you guys like that. And who knows what else we'll come up with in the next 3 months. We will still be doing Sandu stories. We still will be doing random episodes on True Crime Guys headlines and shenanigans.
We will still do the monthly JTB Q&A, live Q&A. We'll still be doing that the 1st of June, or the first Thursday of June. So that will be coming up for our Patreon members. We're still going to do our monthly get-together to do some live Q&As, live chats and stuff like that, so we can actually get some feedback. You guys can join those things and give us some feedback on what you'd like to see in this new iteration, this new season. The more I was thinking about it, I was kind of thinking of it like a Doctor Who thing. It's like,
you like that?
It's like same doctor, different actor. It's like still the doctor, it's just a different character, different writer, different companion. It's just a different season, guys. It's like a different showrunner.
That's right. That's right. We need some time to kind of sort this out, get our format settled. In the meantime, though, we are going to be putting cases on the calendar. So great time to send you in your suggestions now. If you got hometown suggestions, cases that are personal to you, cases that we somehow haven't covered, maybe even cases that we covered very badly.
Yeah, if you guys have, we've talked about, there's a few cases of like way back in the day of early TCG stuff. I'm sure there is.
Not everyone's a home run.
But sometimes there's cases that new information has come out since they've been done, and we can go back and kind of revisit some things and add a few new little bits that have come out since then. So yeah, there are some things in the past that can be revisited here and there. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions of what you think we should put on the calendar, please send it our way. We'd love to add your stuff to the calendar as well.
That's right, guys. We appreciate you supporting True Crime Guys. Like we said, there's 129 episodes of Strange and Unexplained here on the free platform that you guys can listen to. Obviously not on here, but wherever you listen to podcasts, look Strangely Unexplained by True Crime Guys, as well as Sandu Stories on the free platform. But if you get caught up on all that, there's always patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where for just $2 a month, you guys can get access to every Patreon exclusive that we have done since early 2017, as well as access to our 51st Vault episodes, and so much more, guys. And you can get that on a free trial now. So it's not even $2 a month. You can, get a 7-day free trial, see if you like it. If so, great. You can bump up to the $5 tier and get access to literally everything that we make over the course of this summer break. These next 3 months will be released early on Patreon and then later on the free platform, or maybe just on Patreon. So, all right. Anything else, Andy?
No, I think we're pretty good right now, Michael.
All right, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. And, check out our old videos, and we'll see you with some new ones in September. All right? Keep creeping, guys. See ya.
Until then, bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out all the other shows on our TCG network, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. Starting every Monday with new episodes of Strange and Unexplained, followed every other Tuesday by our audio drama podcast, Sandu Stories. Then, of course, new episodes of True Crime Guys every Wednesday. And if that's not enough, head on over to our Patreon, where you can have access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, including older episodes, strange shorts, the latest edition of Sandu Stories, and, of course, higher thoughts. But until next time, guys, keep creeping.
You hush your mouth, boy.